This video is going to be a first in a little mini series where I go over some of the builds on the build spreadsheet, and rather than having done a full 150-hour run where I would normally show the individual talents and break down everything as it goes through, I'm going to give you more the build idea. The full build breakdown is going to be on the talent, so if someone wants to put that in the comments, or if you want to look at it yourself, that's absolutely fine. But this is going to be more of a video to explain the actual setup itself and then show you what it does in combat. So the build in question here is a sword, well, or should I say a dagger and shield build. The setup and the gimmick behind this is to use Assassin with Malign Influence and Notes on Weakness to create a Death Aura build that also procs as many willpower checks as possible to use instant direct damage with Malign Influence. This is an incredibly powerful Act 4 onwards build, and before then you can just sort of use a very agile warrior that uses shields and swords and axes, and then eventually goes into the will check and knives. You can even use knives from the get-go if you really want to. So what you really want to do is equip gear that's going to give you as many willpower tests as possible. At the end of Act 2, you can get the Interrogator's Dagger from being on the dogmatic path and pledging yourself to the Inquisition. On a successful hit with this weapon, the target must pass a willpower resistance test with a -16 penalty, which is going to be based on coercion. So if you want to level up because of coercion, you can do that more than I have done, or immediately move 4 cells away, provoking attack opportunities. That can actually provoke 2 possible willpower saves, because if they move and you get an attack for opportunity. Self-calibrating helmet, the wearer's successful single attacks inflict stun on the target for 1 round and the target fails a willpower save. The fact that they make the save is what does the damage, not if they fail. You can generate some MP here with Slicing Symbol, which you can get fairly early on, or you can use the Act 2 inertia boots. Now the inertia boots give you, from crit melee attacks, give you agility bonus MP, and with the Arm of Hidden Promise you can stack that MP into agility, so you can easily get another 30 agility just from this combined setup. If you come to Footfall and you go incognito, you can get the Knuckle Guard, but you can easily replace this item. Knuckle Guard is not entirely needed, and you can replace other items you do it. In Act 3, you can get the Riposte Gauntlets, which if the wearer successfully dodges or parries an enemy attack, it automatically creates an additional opening on that enemy side close to the wearer. So you can actually run at enemies and then run away, and it creates openings. Now you can use this with the Swiss Shroud Cloak to very rapidly generate dodge and NP. Dodge and or your dodge reduction is what does your damage with your lethality here. Whenever the wearer is targeted by an attack of opportunity, they gain 1 stack of Swiss Shroud effect and 16% dodge against this attack. Also, the wearer gains 4 MP every time they are targeted by an attack of opportunity. These do stack with your agility, so as that goes up, that does more. The big use here is Notes on Weakness. The wearer gains a formula based on lethality, bonus rounded down to direct damage. This bonus is doubled if the wearer targets an opening. Secondary, you can also use rock swords, which with Killing Edge will apply to each attack on the rock sword. The same with also if you use Death Whisper. So this is one way to do it. You can also equip the High Spinner's Armor, which will create willpower checks when enemies run at you. And if you don't want to use the inertia boots, because once you have the Slicing Symbol and the Swiss Shroud Cloak, you will generate a lot of MP anyway. So you could use something like Enforcer's Light Boots, so you can get revenge parries and the counter attacks, which will also provoke willpower checks because of lethal threat. So you combine Malign Influence with the Exemplar Talent Lethal Threat, and you're generating a lot. And you can use Malpain Shroud with Shearing Strikes to attack with both the melee and the shield. Both of them will trigger lethal threat. So you'll get 1 hit, 1 willpower check from the dagger itself, 1 from lethal threat, and then you'll get the shield. And shields, when you attack with them, don't end your MP. They only end your current action. It doesn't cost movement. So Shearing Strikes does work even in the bug state, and you don't need the mod to fix Shearing Strikes. So what you can do is then the shield will also trigger a willpower check from lethal threat. So just by attacking, that's 3 willpower checks have been created. If the enemy moves away, it will create 2 more because of another lethal threat attack and another direct damage. So that's 5 instances of willpower checks. Each single hit will also generate 2, so that's another 3 from the self-calibrated helmet, so that's up to 8. And this isn't even including the fact that you can use something like Feed of Vibo 6 to also get willpower checks on an aura, so that's 9, and you can even use Taunting Screen as a direct damage AoE spell to build up lethality, along with taking many talents that will increase it. So let's talk about some key talents that we're going to want to take as we go through our levels. So ones that I consider important are Rigorous Training, so you can use it with Charge to get in early, and Slash do not end their movement, so it's very important to have both of them. Desolation will help us with some agility here, and Breakthrough is going to be the main skill. You're probably going to want to pick up Blade Flurry, but you don't need to. Impetus is is another good one for when you use charges as you go for the early levels. Reckless Strike is going to be useful to force enemies to attack you because you've got more chances to block and revenge attack, and Shearing Strikes. Instant Retribution is also another thing that you can do with the shield here to get some bonus attacks. Early levels, you're going to be more of a traditional assassin than anything else, but those are going to be sort of the important things there. Moving into Assassin, you want to prioritize Dance Macabre for some movement. You need to get Deadly Calculations early as well as Imminent Demise. Death Whisper is also very good, and Lethality Heightens is going to be what starts increasing your direct damage on kills. I've taken Defensive Maneuver, so Shield Bashes do generate MP as well, so there's a lot of MP generation going here. You can swap some stuff out. Dual Weapon Combat will allow for shield attacks, and then Killing Edge and Shield Mastery. Shield Mastery is what allows you to get rock swords, and Morbid Pirouette will also help allow you to do opening damage. So before you can fly around the map just killing everything, these are some good things to go on. I've gone for a Forge World Crime Lord, but an Arbitrator also works because Arbitrator's Law and Order means that you'll provoke more checks, so it's another very good thing, and it also lowers enemy armor. In Exemplar levels, basically this build comes online as soon as we get Malign Influence, level 36, and then start doing Willpower Check gear, which will come to us in Act 2, 3, and 4. This build will be online almost instantly as soon as you get to Act 4 because of Fiend of Evo 6, so it depends on how you've been doing your buildings for your colonies. Taunt Screen is going to be useful to get here, and the rest of this is all going to be just stuff that further enhances your playstyle. It's not needed, but it does build up, and your direct damage blocks do apply degraded defense for your actual melee hit itself. So you can do a lot, and Poison Strike is very useful for hitting enemies that you might not be able to take out if you are unbuffed, but with ally buffs, your lethality and dodge is going to be through the roof. So yeah, I've had a little bit of footage going on here. We'll go through and enjoy some more, but we'll talk about a little bit more of what you actually do with this build. So even if you're ambushed, such as the Forceful Gene Stealer Strike, it can be very easy to get off some basic buffs here with your officer and get this build going, and it can pretty much clear the battle and bring it down. It doesn't even require the officer heroic. So as you can see here, I've not got much movement to be able to do anything I want, but what I can use is Dance Macabre to actually get to where I want, and I can also set up some base lethality with Taunting Scream. So as per here, we're going to Taunting Scream, which sets off a bunch of stuff, and as you can see, my Vigilance, Law and Order also procced, and he accidentally shot the ally there. So use Breakthrough. So we're going to use Breakthrough to move over to enemies and generate some MP here. We could aim for the opening, but we don't have the AP for it. So we do set off some willpower checks just by using Morbid Pirouette there, and by using Slash, we generate a lot of MP. As you can see, our MP is already through the roof. By moving away from the enemy and having him attack us, we can create openings, but we can't quite get to it at the moment. So as you can see, that he parried the first hit, but then the shield hit is what got him. The same happens again here. This is mostly because we haven't had an insane amount of buffs put in place. So on this Gene Stealer, I'm not able to quite get what I want here with that attack, but I try to set up, and well, basically as you can see with the Gene Stealer, I don't have the stats to be able to get through his guard, but there is a way we can do that. So if we can build up to our heroic action, which we have actually already done, but first I'm just using my slash charges to clear the battlefield, we can use Daring Breach to get some MP back, and I can use some of my other abilities to clear them. Because as you can see here, we are struggling with just our base stats to get through this encounter here, because it is quite a hard one. But we're going to keep trying to hit these people, because as long as we can get through that guard, we can get a hit here. So we have both our shield that we can use and the actual dagger itself. And as you can see, these guys are doing a very good job of preventing us from even being able to hit them. And normally this isn't an issue, but we don't have maximum buffs here. But we managed to get through them here. As you can see, this is why it's pretty good to use items that increase your weapon score. And now it's just the boss here, and because we were struggling to get through here, this is where Poise to Strike comes in to be a little bit more useful. So we're going to create an opening, and we're going to use Poise to Strike here to lower the enemy's armor, and we also lower their dodge because of other abilities I have on there. So in one way, you've actually got a little bit more room to breathe. You can actually use move to use the aura on Fiend of Evo 6, so you can get some of those early lethality stacks coming in here just by moving. Now that we've moved into a prime location, we can use Taunting Scream to try and damage some more enemies. So there goes the AoE for that. Now, because we want to get our MP generator going, we are going to use Breakthrough. And you can see the damage is obscene. So this is the Abominable King, and he has some very high stats here. So we're actually going to risk it, and we're not even going to endure. So we almost one-shot him, and we haven't built up that much lethality. He comes back and does a lot of damage to us. However, we do have very good dodge, we do have very good parry, and we also have shield blocks. So there's the parry. As you can see here, if I'd had the Enforcer's boots on, I would have just killed him. However, the instant retribution does kill him. The aura is now so strong that I'm killing enemies just by walking up to them. And we're actually going to use a bit of AP here, and we're going to use Killing Edge on the final opponent. Now, here comes the big one, where you have access to all your abilities and finest hour. So, I have moved my party away from the boss here because he can use his abilities to try and become invulnerable. So it's hard to one-round a boss because of his invulnerability phase. But what I can do is clear the entire battle ready for that. So, Taunting Scream here does a lot of damage and even gives us another heroic because of all the kills. We're now building lethality and kills just by walking around here. Now, this has actually worked against us because we haven't been able to generate MP, but this is why we use Dance Macabre. So now we can use these slashes, and as you can see, the damage is just obscene. How to create a non-executioner late game. So we're going to hit the boss with Poise to Strike, which loads his dodge, armor, and all other things. And by moving around him, because of the way Shearing Strikes works, it actually procs the opposite side of where they are for openings. Oh, so Law and Order going off for our Vigilant. Yeah, you don't spawn next to him, he will fuck you up. But as you can see, we're getting over 14 procs of damage here. I checked this on a previous build, and yeah, it was 14 procs that I was seeing in most of these attacks. So even just by moving into range, a lot of enemies will not survive you as your lethality gets up to 1,000. And because it's direct damage, there's no real way for enemies to defend it. They need to dodge or parry the hit themselves, and that's hoping that they don't just get auraed. So even Death Whisper is just going to do obscene damage. So we're going to Killing Edge this one here. And because the direct damages go first, that Killing Edge instantly gets the benefits, because the more missing health, the more damage you do. It seems some of these enemies have bugs, so they haven't cleared from the encounter, so the boss has not lost its invulnerability. So that means we're just going to have to manually end turns to try and get some of it here, because as you can see, we are doing 0 damage. And we can't kill these 0 HP enemies that are laying on the floor, so we're just going to have to set up and wait for the boss to come to us. Yeah, nothing we can do about those guys. So I'm actually just going to go through and end turns. And as you can see, we're getting some block riposte from the boss here. So by ending my turn and coming back around, obviously the boss couldn't damage us or kill us, and the parry riposte also generated the next point for him to summon in more minions. So let's start going through and clearing them. Now, Death Whisper you can safely use with the dagger because it won't end your movement. However, Killing Edge can do, but you can use it with the shield to not end your movement until you have something like Daring Breach up. And then you can just go absolutely ham with those dagger hits. Because with the right upgrades on Daring Breach, your kills will actually generate MP and not end your movement. And now that these enemies have openings up, because it doesn't apply to assassin extra turns, only on their main turns, we can easily hit these openings and vastly increase our damage. So yep, just going straight through, exploding them. Even that Morbid Periac just absolutely killed him. Nothing they can do. So once again, just down to the Sire. So because the entire battlefield is once again dead, and unfortunately because he's vulnerable and there's nothing we can do, we're just going to set ourselves up so if the boss tries to move, we attack him. This should kill him during his own turn. So yep, still 0 damage as you can see here. We can use more of the Crime Lord stuff, but I've just not needed to at these levels. So we end the turn, wait for the boss's turn, just end our way through, and when he tries to attack us, he will get block revenge killed. Bam. Just as easy as that. I hope you've enjoyed this build. Do comment what build you'd like to see covered next from the sheet, and we'll see what we pick next.